Welcome back to Sleeping Around the podcast, but a very special episode. Dan's telling me where to point. It's all right. Camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. Okay. We are still in Portland, Oregon.
Are we?
Yeah, we are.
Oh, yeah. We just changed clothes.
Of course. That's what we do.
Exactly.
And it could be the next day.
It could be.
That's
Could
right.
be.
Dan taught me about that.
We do change clothes when we change days.
I thought it would be a good idea for us to...
It's a nice scarf, by the way.
Thank you. You noticed? Thank you very much. Dan was telling me that it had been a while since I'd worn a T-shirt and a scarf in the shorts and all that, so I thought I'd kind of bring it back to old school.
Sounds good.
You know?
Sounds good.
And one of the things that I also, and I think you agree, is that we just need to kind of catch up. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it has been. It's been like a lot of minutes.
It has. It has
Yeah.
been a lot of minutes. And just talk kind of about where we are with the podcast, because I know I get a lot of questions, especially recently after just being on someone else's podcast that we were. And just kind of talk a little bit about kind of what's been going on with us. And just I thought it'd be kind of fun.
Yeah.
And I know that you have some questions that you're probably going to ask me from that deck of cards right there.
Yes.
Okay. But before we get started, Dan, get a tight shot on these amazing, I want to call them tumblers.
Yeah. Although they're in place right now.
They're not tumbling, yes. So I received these from an amazing person in Dallas. Her name is April Fields. April Fields works for Dr. Kent Smith in Star Sleep in Dallas, which people in the sleep world, in dental sleep world, know Kent Smith is pretty much the guru when it comes to sleep dentistry. He's got now 8 different locations. April's been with him over 20 years. He is also one of my customers for my job at SomnoMed, but she asked me to come to the office because she had a gift for us. And so she gave us these tumblers, and they are phenomenal. And
Yeah.
she wanted Ann to pick which one she wanted, which I brought both so Ann could have them both. But also just there was something very distinctive
Yeah.
about one of them that I
Yes.
thought you would just love.
Yes. So I have to say, number one, incredibly talented. These are beautiful. And we're going to have to get them so that we can have them on the website for people to be able to purchase. I mean, these
Absolutely.
are just awesome. So first I'm going to start with our traditional
That's right.
Sleeping Around the podcast, our beautiful little pillows and Z's, catching your Z's. You can think about our EZ rating system. Also little podcast symbols back here. Absolutely loving this. However,
And the color too. I
the
know you like.
winner, the absolute winner for me
Yes.
is this one.
Yes.
This one. So again, we have our Sleep Around the podcast, our logo. You're getting total superhero vibes. Total superhero vibes.
Yeah.
And we have the superheroes. We have Matthew,
The old man.
myself,
Yeah. And Brandon.
and Brandon. So Brandon looks like he's ready to go take a kung fu movie
Yeah.
and kick some ass.
Yeah.
I definitely looks like I'm probably a news reporter during the
Oh,
day.
wow. Okay, that's
Probably.
what
I
we're
mean,
doing
I think that's the vibe it's giving. And then
Oh, I
like
can't wait to hear
at night when bad things are happening and we're going to fight crime,
Right.
clearly complete catsuit. Like maybe like a purplish pink color
I
and
think
like
we're going with something.
something. And then
The old wise.
Grandpa Matthew.
Yep.
He is our wise,
Oh, yeah, thank you.
long-lasting, been around for a while
Yeah.
leader.
So there's not a wrinkle on baby Brandon's face. He looks like Boy Wonder. And look how hot that, they made Ann.
I mean, very accurate
I
representation.
got wrinkles. I just look, and April and I have joked about this. So full
Angry as
disclosure.
hell.
And just frustrated.
He's like, I'm just defeated.
Yeah. I mean, that just shows you the age range in these things. But no, I think it's important. If you guys would like to get one of these tumblers of any kind, she does them specially made. And it is at big dot
Neon.
dot glitter.
Okay, so 2 dots.
Yeah, so big dot neon dot glitter on Instagram.
Yep.
Or you could just go to Instagram and search April Fields. I am just blown away.
Yeah, these are awesome.
The talent and the mugs themselves, they're really awesome just with the bottom and
Yeah. Yeah.
So
We're going to have to get some. We'll have them on the site. We're going to have a link to
Absolutely.
our page. I mean, the reality is that we're talking about a sleep podcast.
Yeah.
When you're talking about what is going in these mugs, no, it's not vodka. It's going to be coffee. It's going to be tea.
Right.
Very frequently we're talking about we're waking up, we're all struggling. I was just on NBC talking about the fact that the most recent Gallup poll is that more than 50% of U.S. American adults are not getting right number of hours sleep. So insufficient sleep is going to lead to us having an increased homeostatic drive. Our homeostatic drive is going to be because of increased adenosine, right? That's the thing that wants us to go back to sleep. Our caffeine is going to block the effects of adenosine. And so most of us are reaching for it. So why not have a super awesome Grandpa Matthew Allard tumbler mug?
Yeah. Yeah.
I am so appreciative of this. This is literally, I don't even know that I'll be able to use it because I think it really is going to be like my Academy Award of like.
Oh, you're accepting an award, yes. Okay.
Thank you.
It's funny you bring up your most recent was NBC, but you've been, the last couple months, you have been highlighted on some shows, and I've noticed, and I've obviously
I'm
cheer
glad
you
you've
on.
noticed.
Cheer you on socials, I share. What's going on lately? I mean, are you just that much in demand, or is it the sleep? I mean, I'm being dead serious.
Yeah, so I think one of the things that's very fortunate right now is that there's increasing attention to sleep. I mean, the reality is that I am in a very fortuitous situation of that there's increasing publications coming out that is grabbing everyone's attention.
Right.
There's increasing number of pharmaceutical companies creating treatment strategies for more and more sleep disorders.
Right.
And so the relevance of sleep has just grown. And at the end of the day, because of that, it has created this opportunity where I get to do what I love. I get to speak on a topic that everyone has relevance to and be able to just kind of share my passion in a way that may hopefully be helping some of the people who are listening to our podcast or perhaps one of the other events or shows that I've been a part of.
You know, it's so funny. The last couple months you have been in demand, and most recently you've kind of entered into my world and to dental sleep. And
Yes.
I believe the last couple times that we've had an opportunity to be together, we haven't really gotten to download. Yes, we did a whole big download on Transform Dental Sleep.
100%.
And what a great experience that was for you. First time being over there. But there was an event that took place recently that you got
In
to be a
Melbourne,
part
Florida. Yeah, the Sleep Convergence.
with the OG,
Yeah.
Gary Glassman. So
Yes.
I'd love for you to talk a little bit about that and kind of your experience on that, because I believe that was his first one.
It was the
Okay.
first one. And I have to tell you, it was a great experience because it was such a novel educational setting. It was a very small, intimate group, maybe between 40 to 60 people. It was very, very well organized. Barry was very invested in making sure that everyone kind of knew their roles. There was a select set of different speakers. I was very privileged to be a part of some of the sleep dentistry community that was there. Naresh Punjabi, previously from Johns Hopkins, now at University of Miami. He was there. I mean, he's just such a stellar contributor to the field in the world of sleep apnea. There was everything. I mean, we talked about bruxism. We talked about sleep disorder breathing. I got to talk about central disorders of hypersomnolence to dentists, right? And the part that was so humbling for me was when afterwards, many of the dentists came up and went, I really appreciate the fact that you made it relevant to us.
Yeah.
You didn't talk over us, number one, but number two, you reminded us why it was important for us to think about this. Because I can talk about central disorders, things like narcolepsy and idiopathic hypersomnia all day long. I am so passionate and so interested in the science of it. But if I'm not speaking to why it's relevant to you, you're never going to pay attention to it. And it is really important that even though in sleep dentistry, the focus may be on sleep disorder breathing because that's what I'm able to treat, the reality is that if you're not aware of that, there are other causes of sleepiness, like these conditions, that are highly comorbid to obstructive sleep apnea, you're going to miss them.
Yep.
And then your patients are going to go, man, this dentist sucks because they treated my sleep apnea. But the reason I'm here is I'm so sleepy and I feel horrible. And so when you kind of strike that balance of, no, I'm not asking you to treat that disorder. I'm asking you to recognize it so that you help the person today and not make them wait for another 3 years or longer. What was fascinating was one of the questions I had been asked was, well, we get a lot of referrals from sleep doctors. how do I send this patient back to the sleep doctor and say, you missed something? I said, you don't. You don't say you missed something. You say, isn't it great that we have more data now to reflect on how we can better help this patient together?
Nice.
We've treated the sleep apnea. That is no longer the main driver for this patient, and we're still not seeing improvement. What else could this be?
Nice.
I will take that every single day. It's not that I missed something, it's that I brought the attention to the thing that most commonly would be causing the symptoms.
Right.
And so I think that that is a paradigm shift, because I think we're trained in medicine or dentistry to get the right answer the first time every time.
Right.
And there's an insecurity around how do we actually reposition when new information is available.
Well, just in the way that you word something, going back to anybody relationship,
Yeah.
you're not calling their baby ugly is kind of the saying. You're saying,
Sure.
hey, how can we help each other?
Sure.
I
You
had
have a funny looking kid.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a prominent sleep physician. I won't even say where. And I was able to sit down with dinner with this person. And I've had a relationship with him in the past with my ties with Philips. He was very curious. He had seen a couple of our podcasts and wanted to know how me and you were connected and how the podcast started. He wants to start a podcast. But he is convinced that oral appliance therapy, which I call oral device therapy, doesn't work. He said, in all the years that I've done medicine and all the stuff, that it just it just doesn't work.
Sure.
And so instead of challenging him and basically telling him to his face that, no, there's proof out there that it works, I kind of did what you did. I said, so what do you do for those patients that just will not stay on a CPAP?
Sure.
He went straight to Inspire. So it wasn't even an option, but
Wow.
Inspire is so new that he was willing to do that. And so that led to bringing a person who we both know, a sleep dentist, involved into the conversation. We had another dinner, and this person referred his very first patient over to a sleep dentist.
Wow.
And so it's how, and I've even learned this in my personal relationships, it's not so much the message, it's how I'm delivering it.
100%.
And what you just did there was an excellent example, because, I always learn something from you, Ann. That is
glad.
one of the questions
That's
that
why
I
I wear
get.
this shirt.
Yep. That's one of the questions that I get from sleep dentists,
Yes.
because I try to empower them as much as I can and say, man, if you see something, say something, type thing.
Yeah.
And if you're seeing
You're
that
like
this
the
patient,
security of the sleep dentistry world, huh?
right. Well, thank you. Well, no, but meaning like you can
No, I
work
get what you're
together,
saying.
and that
Yeah.
was the whole idea of the medical initiative, and still is
Sure.
working together. So I love that you pointed that out. So it's interesting on
But
just
I
how
want
we
to know why you
communicate.
took my scarf.
How do I know this is your scarf?
Watch the
I have
other
a bunch of
episodes.
scarves.
Watch the other episodes where I was wearing that
I
scarf.
could have bought this scarf where you got your scarf.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't actually buy scarves anymore, so no, this is actually Ann's scarf.
But it
just
does
thought it'd
match
be
your
fun.
shirt very
Thank
well.
you very much. But no, it is about communication. And a couple other items I just want to hit on before we wrap this segment up is I'm so grateful for you. We're able to do some really neat things coming up in 2024, the rest of this year, and I'm just really excited. We have the biggest sleep meeting coming up in North America, and we have so many awesome things secret that we're going to be launching this year with Sleeping Around the podcast. But I want to thank you. Our partnership with Neurology Live has meant the world to me, and this is something that's happened very recent. We both spoke on it recently on Emma's
Yes.
podcast, but I can't believe where we are.
Yeah.
From where we started off with the podcast to where we are now, partnering with such an amazing group, and I would be remiss without thanking you, because that would have never have happened. And so it's giving us and our audience an ability to reach many more people. So I just want to say thank you.
100%. And the best news is we're not stopping there,
We're not.
right? I mean, the reality is that there is no ceiling that is going to stop us. So we have a lot more that's going to be coming out, not only our relationship with Neurology Live, so Sleeping Around a Podcast X Neurology Live. Make sure you check that out for very neurology-specific content. But we also are going to be launching a new relationship with DocWire News, and we're going to be having some really interesting specialty content that will be all related in regards to sleep medicine, sleep and neurology, but we're also going to be looking at some things like sleep and oncology, sleep and cardiology, because the reality is sleep is a unifying factor across the body.
That's right.
It is necessary. Sleep and circadian science is necessary for you to function well. And so the reality is we want to be able to bring you this content, not only so that anyone can appreciate it, but also bringing it in a level that is at a medical, professional kind of value proposition. How do we use sleep as the tool that it's designed to be, to diagnose, prognose, and treat, to get you your better nights for your best days?
That's right. And so thank you guys so much for sleeping around with Dr. Ann and myself. And you forgot to been saying your tagline lately.
I know, we're just keeping it between sleep friends.
We are. Thank you guys.
Did this episode leave you wanting more? Then make sure you subscribe and check out this episode right here.